Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have the Evermoor Chronicles. This is a little bit difficult for me because there's also another series on here called Evermoor. And we did actually have it randomly selected, the Evermoor Chronicles, in episode 15, more than 1,000 episodes ago. The Evermoor Chronicles got picked randomly, and it wasn't on Disney Plus yet. But Evermore might have been. And we never did get Evermore picked for some reason. I thought we had, but yeah, that's why everything seems familiar but unfamiliar. Because I had done research on this years ago. This came out, that got selected in 2019, pre pandemic. Like, this is a while ago. So, yeah, what this is technically the same series as Evermore, but it starts with a season 1, episode 1 called Normal. I only watched one episode because I was already annoyed. Because when the first episode of a series, season 1, episode 1, starts with a previously on, yeah, no, you screwed up. So I kept watching it only because I didn't want to screw things up further. I just figured I'm into this. I'm just going to watch one episode. Boom, that's it. I wasn't into it. I was like, I started it. And I realized as I got into this that, Evermore is literally a 4-episode series that takes place just before season 1 episode of the Evermoor Chronicles. They got a name change or something. I don't know what it was, but this is from 2015 to 2017. It says 2 seasons. Yeah, it's all connected with Evermore, and so if we ever get Evermore selected, like I think it's number 133 currently on the list, if that ever gets picked, we're not watching it. Because technically we already watched that series and we did one episode. And that one episode, let me see if I can try to explain this to you. You know how everything that was a YA novel, young adult novel at one point, was turned into a TV series or a movie or whatever it was, and of course the most successful of these is Harry Potter, and everybody wanted to be the next Harry Potter, understandably. JK made a ton of money just writing 7 books and 8 movies. Well, she didn't write the movies, but she was part of that. So yeah, and then she stage plays and all sorts of other stuff, other spin-off books and video games and everything else. Yeah, that worked out well for her. Anyway, this involves an American girl who's taken to England, of all places, where all magic happens, because apparently, I don't know, we can blame Merlin, I guess. But she goes to England and then is part of a Evermoor Manor. I guess it's a school where certain people have powers, some don't. Or she does, but she has to hide it. Like, she's a supreme weaver. She weaves with magic. Like, her hands are all glowy all the time. Not all the time, but whenever she wants to use her magic, and she's able to weave things by doing this a lot. And so she weaves things and things get messed up. Somebody gets sucked into a tapestry, but it doesn't matter. It's a whole lot of stuff going on with her. She, by the way, is supposed to be American, but she's definitely British, and she has a very weak American accent. Because until I did a little bit more research, because I couldn't figure out where the American girl was. That's how bad her accent is. I realized that, okay, Tara is the main character. I'm pretty sure maybe that's her. And it's just a young girl and her blended family moved to the small college town of Evermoor. They don't say who that young girl is. Eventually I realize it's Tara, and Tara barely has an American accent. So eventually, later on, it sort of came out, and I'm like, okay, that's her. Okay, good. And that's her, I think. Yeah, that's one. The one in the red coat. Yeah. So And there's also a B plot with, I guess, her little brother, who definitely does sound American, but probably British too. And his best buddy, who, I don't know, they have things going on with owls. There's something going on with an owl, but the weird kid calls the British kid calls a snooch or something. Talk to Jason Mewes a little bit too much, and then he dresses up as an owl. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, and I realize they probably tried really hard to create a whole little universe that had a budget that was 1/1,000,000th of what Harry Potter was. There's no robe budget, thankfully. Well, there is actually the adults. I see the adults wearing robes. They were wearing matching robes, but the kids, they just dress like normal kids, and it's just a lot of shenanigans that just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Nothing really. They just got in trouble, and then they had to work their way out of it by usually lying or making up a story that distracted. There's some elders that seem devious and troublesome, and there's another elder that kind of she goes to for assistance and helps, kind of her own little Dumbledore, but not as wise looking. She's a bit of a scatterbrain herself, it seems. And oh, sorry, no, why did that happen? I guess I didn't tap it right away. And then, and then, yeah. Then there's also Cute Boy. Cute Boy. I guess there's Cameron or Jake. They're all named Jake. So I don't know. And I can't say this is not made for me. Honestly, this kind of thing is. It definitely has an audience, and they're usually going to be British, but they're usually going to be young teens or younger, and they might get a kick out of it. I don't know. There are things that are well done, and some that are just, I don't know. They had a budget. They had an early Doctor Who budget, I think, for a lot of things. Actually, no, they probably have a budget that is 1,000,000,000 times bigger than old Doctor Who, but it has a certain charm to it, but for me, it's not going to be something I'll ever watch again. But again, that's okay. It's not made for me. So if it's something that looks interesting to you, magical weaving and something with another dimension in a little college town that me at magic. There's one point she has to do a scene with what looks like a dead spider. Like they just grab the grossest looking little spider you can just throw on top of a table, and she has to like act against it. That just doesn't seem right. That's I don't know. It was only 23 minutes long, but it was the longest 23 minutes I've had in a long time. Mainly because I was ticked off that I didn't actually start at the very first episode. Because the name change, they should have just smushed them together. They rename stuff all the time and finagle things all the time. They should have just put Evermoor with the Evermoor Chronicles in one thing on Disney Plus and did that. Because if you look at it on IMDb, that's the only thing that told me that they were the exact same thing. Not like one was a sequel to the other. Because when I looked at that, it said chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and then normal is episode 5, whereas episode 1 here. I've talked way too much about this for something that I will never watch again. Sorry, Evermore people. Sure, you did a great job, but it's somebody messed up in the naming, and that messed things up for me. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
184.
Oh, we got out of the 400s finally. 184. Come on, 184. Oh man, we are getting series out the wazoo. This is our third series in a row. This one's a bit more modern. This one is actually a Disney Plus original, and it's a spin-off of probably one of the most iconic modern Disney Channel series of all time. That's a big shoes to fill, but it's a spin-off. And I still haven't seen the original movie. I've seen the sequels to the original movie that this is spun off of. Never seen the original movie yet. Can you think of what I'm thinking of? Well, this one also has a very laborious name. High School Musical, the musical, the series is what we're watching next. Yeah, like I said, I still haven't seen the original High School Musical movie as part of this thing. I've seen all the sequels. Now we're going to see the spin-off that is a musical that's based on the movies where the kids in this. I only know this because I've been at D23 Expo many years ago, and they had like a whole marching band and cheerleaders and all sorts of everybody just explaining what the heck this was, and that's the only reason I know what it is. And so yeah, it's a series about kids who grew up watching the High School Musical movies, and they're sort of reenacting it, or not, or just sort of making their own. I could be completely wrong, but we're gonna find out tomorrow with High School Musical, the series, on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.